Welcome, beloved souls. This is usually a commentary channel. My name is Jem, and I only possess a second-hand laptop and a Logi cam, and I thought instead of you just seeing my face that I would do another power point slide. And the reason for this is a couple of you have asked about my books. And so we're going to go through each one of my books and what it may be about. So, this one has not yet been published, but you can get it as an ebook, and it's a true story. I've already shared the story about what happened on YouTube, and you can find it about my overdose. Trigger warning that in this book there are themes of suicide. This is my favorite book. Now, there are a few editions going around, and it's called Seeing the Spirituality Behind the Negativity, a Menu for the Game of Life. And originally it was published in 2015 by Exibris. If you bought it from Exibris, you paid too much, and this particular edition has got extra material. There is another book available from Amazon, an ebook that comes in the color of blue, and again it hasn't got the extra material. Thank you to you. This book has come about because people seem to be interested in manifesting. So I thought I would write my own book. So in this book, I talk about manifesting career, manifesting relationships, manifesting health, love, and even money. But I talk about intent, I talk about belief, and I'm not going to spoil the rest of it. You'll just have to get the book. Again, if you can't afford these books, the ebooks are a cheaper alternative. This one is actually got two fiction stories in it about a AI named Harmony that is given magic, and also later I go on to talk about the real magic spells, what they entail. This book was written around 2020, 2021, and my son asked me to tap into a channeling about an ancient civilization, and I channeled this. The Moors, without spoiling too much information, they're a type of like spider, but to call them a spider is wrong, because they were more kind of AI or more machine than they were living. And the planet was totally, it wasn't made of carbon and oxygen like our planet. So of course life is going to develop differently. But this is actually a channeled material. This is another channeling. It's basically only got several channelings, including about Trump, including Elon Musk, and then I channeled about AI capturing souls. So I would go, after I channeled, I would go to Chat GPT and I would question and say, what do you think? I've just channeled this. Can you please explain? So that's why it's called A Strange Little Book. This one is another kind of, you want to call it paranormal, supernatural if you like. I tell it as if I'm telling you a story, and I talk about Earth as a game. I talk about Jesus in this as well. Lots of different information in this. This is, you can't see, it's talking about basically the power of forgiving and radical forgiveness. And again, I've covered a YouTube video. I can't see the top there. I should have done better on my PowerPoint. Hopefully you can see the top there. But anyway, if you go and just Google or go to Amazon and Google my name, Jem with a J, Jem Stone, these books will come up. And this one is a true story, and I can read it. I am Jem, and I was a former drug addict, and this may change your life. So I speak about my drug addiction, and I speak about what I did to get clean. This is my first book on poetry. Although the poems themselves don't have dates on it, Sing the Song of Bards is a lot of my early work, although sadly I've lost a book. When you move around, you tend to lose stuff. I've lost a book written, lots of poetry that I wrote very early. I started writing poetry in the 1980s, and there used to be, if some of you remember, a website called poetry.com. A few of my poems have been published, and a few times I've won Editor's Choice. This is my experience and research and analysis of the Dulce battle, and it's a paranormal. It talks about what I found out about aliens and everything, and the relationship with mankind, what aliens are up to, pretty nefarious. And then the second half talks about the Dulce battle. It talks about a couple of people who claimed to be there, one being Mark Richards, the other being Phil Schneider, and then I look at a third alternative of what happened at Dulce. This is dangerous. This is dangerous deceptions and deadly delusions of the creative and cultured and collective consciousness. I hope it comes up properly. This was written around 2015, and it discusses different things like witches, the Jews, aliens. It breaks up into different subjects. I should have uploaded that a bit better, but it is what it is. As I said, if you look up Jem Stone, you'll find it anyway. This you can't see, but it's called Screwed. Screwed. That's the name of the book, Screwed, and it's a true story about a woman I know very well, Josie, who in the 1990s was falsely imprisoned. So the title again is Screwed. This one was Does AI Pose a Threat? And Other Questions as Answered by ChatGPT. This is early ChatGPT dialogue when ChatGPT was first new to us all. So these were questions that were very new. So ChatGPT had just been introduced to free to all of us people, and I had some dialogues with it. This is and again you can't see the title properly. This is called Coming Clean, Remember Rob. And this is about my beloved husband Rob, who at the time he was in Prince Charles Hospital, and I was journaling as had my feelings about his death as he was dying, and then I wrote about memories of Rob. So again, it's called Coming Clean, Remember Rob. This is Jem's 8-week journal on grief. What happened is I attended a course run by the Blue Nurses about grief and loss after losing Rob and losing Jimmy. And so it's a book, it's just my journal and what happened those 8 weeks. This is called Precious. I think, again, you can't see it, but I think it's called Precious. Precious, and it's poetry. Because I'm talking, I can't see that whether you can see the titles or not, but this is a bit later poetry. This is poetry that I probably wrote later after 2010, probably as recent as 2020s. This is Missing 411. It's missing the title at the top. Missing 411, Bridging Investigations and Intuition. And it talks about, there's 2 of these books, different books, and it talks about the different work that David Paulides has done. He's established different patterns, and I go into it here, and I talk about what I think has happened. This book, his name was Jimmy, and he was my special dog. A true story. I not only talk about Jimmy, I discuss a couple of other dogs I've had, but these are dogs, not all the dogs. I've owned lots of dogs. I've owned probably more than a dozen dogs. I've owned quite a few cats. I've owned birds. I've owned guinea pigs. Had rabbits as a child, although I didn't know they made rabbit stew. They didn't tell me that growing up in England. You know that your pet rabbit's made into stew, love. And for my 6th birthday, I got a tortoise. It ended up dying the very same day. Tortoises are very hard to look after. They die very easily of fright, and I think that's what happened. So this, although it says his name was Jimmy and he was my special dog, it's for all our pets that we've loved and lost, all our pets that have given us unconditional love. And this is Love, the Healing Power of Forgiveness and Second Chances. Again, it's based on radical forgiveness, and and the fact that souls agree to play parts before coming to be incarnated. So it's a self-help book and a healing. Here's the second mystic patterns. Remember, I showed you one earlier and another mystic patterns. This is the other one, mystic patterns exploring missing 411 through the lens of simulation. So this is book number 22 that I've authored, and as I said, there's 2 books in the series, and I look at it through the fact that we're living in a simulation. This is, again, it's missing the title, but it's Hidden Wounds, the battle between pain and addiction. And a lot of addiction, there's a lot of trauma, a lot of pain. And so this book explains the links between pain and addiction, whether that pain be mental, whether it be physical. It explores that. So Hidden Wounds, the battle between pain and addiction. This is all about addiction, and it's just literally facts, and it just talks literally about what addiction is, and I might have in there at the end some advice on where to get help. This is book 24. This is Buttons and Triggers, and again it's a self-help book, and it talks about, you know, how people like to push our buttons and how easily we get triggered. It describes what buttons and triggers are, how we get triggered, and what we can do about it. This is Negligence, a story of loss, survival, and holding doctors accountable. Justice for Robbie. Now, originally, I was going to take this particular doctor to court, but I was out of time. You only have 3 years to sue. And anyway, I did get an extension to sue, but trying to find a lawyer who would take the case on was a nightmare. No one would, because Rob, even though he was my carer, he was on a pension. So all the lawyers said to me, there's no money in it. So this is actually names the particular doctor, and Rob was addicted to everything, and he a couple of times OD'd on fentanyl, went to hospital, and the hospital informed the doctor, and still the doctor kept on giving him fentanyl. This is storytelling methodology, probably a little bit outdated now. Even though it was published quite late, I wrote it in the mid-2000s, and it talks about how the left brain is very analytical, logical, and reasoning, where the right brain, your creativity comes from. And it helps you be able to write stories, whether that be creative stories or even write for assignments. It gives you ideas how to do it. So that's Storytelling Methodology, book 27. This is The Social World Revised. I got a Bachelor of Arts. I graduated in 1987. One of my majors was sociology, and I thought if I have to learn, because sociology is just theories, if I have to learn just someone's theories, how about I write my own theory? So this is The Social World. Originally it was published by Exhilarus, but this is a cheaper version. That's why it's a second edition. And in it I talk about how the social world is basically our creation, that we create roles, we create meaning and label everything. So that's The Social World. You can read it if you like as a metaphysical book, but it was my attempt as sociology. And I also said that sociology is an interpretation, and that no two people act or react the same way in the same stimulus. Unfortunately, when I got this book back from Exhilarus, they gave it to me in such a format that when I've tried to reprint it, it's a bit messy. So the first pages, you'll just see writing overlap. Just ignore it. This is God, Blame, and the Search for Meaning. And again, it goes into radical forgiveness, and also about, again, how everyone decides before they come to Earth to play a game, and how we all choose to be villains and heroes at different times to teach each other certain lessons. This is book 29, so it's God, Blame, and the Search for Meaning. This is Conversations with Chat AI, and this is just questions I asked. This again was when ChatGPT was very new, so it only just been developed. So I was testing it to see what it would reveal. So this actually isn't under my name, Jem Stone. It's actually under the title ChatGPT, but you can find it at Amazon under me. But yeah, the author I put here is ChatGPT, because even though I ask the questions and have the chats, I thought, no, I didn't actually write this, ChatGPT did. So once again, the author, I've put ChatGPT, but if you buy it, I'll get the royalties for it. Oh, this is another poetry. I'm not sure what this one's called. I've got Precious, and I've got Sing the Song of Bards. This is just another poetry book. You'll just have to look up poetry. Sorry, I can't see the title. I would have named it. Oh, who knows? Anyway, I'll keep flowing. It's book 31. And then for those who are naughty, I had a dabble in a pen name as Amber Crystal. Now this is based off the fact that my son gave me several books, and it's a new trend, and they've been written for shock value. So the books I got off my son the first one was about a woman who ran off with Bigfoot, and the Yeti also at times had sex with her. And then the other book was about a dinosaur, Tyrannosaurus Rex, having sex with a woman. So these books they're usually cheap, they're nasty, and it's just fun, you know. So I'll try. So there's 2 alien stories, loved by a dragon, haunted by a demon lover, enchanted by a princess, and 2 tales of Laurelie and Sarah. So they're my naughty little books by Amber Christelle. Just being funny, just trying to make a quick buck. Before I leave you, I want to tell you, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books there, is that at the moment, because I'm a widow on pension, I can't afford to, to market these books, and I have to do something like this, on YouTube, because as a widow on the pension, you just don't have the money. So I'm trying the best I can, and I hardly make anything. I'm lucky if I make $5 off more than 35 books that I have written and published. Thank you for watching. All these books are available from Amazon, some from other places, but be very careful of what you pay. Amazon, I publish there through Kindle, and I made sure that I put a reasonable price on them. If you don't buy them from Amazon, you're probably going to pay too much money. So please be kind to each other and to yourselves. Love, light, and blessings. And there's where you can contact me, jemamberstone@gmail.com. And again, I'm just trying a new format. If you don't like my format of, power slides, I can go back to just commentary and you're just seeing just my face. But I thought instead of my face, having a look at a pretty picture behind was far better. All right, again, take care and bye.